I'd like to call to order the Park and Rec Commission meeting of Thursday, May 28th, 2020. We do have a quorum tonight, which is outstanding. First thing on the agenda is approval of the minutes. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
You got a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion approved. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Unfinished business. Glacier Hills Master Development Plan. Craig Walker, presenter.
All right, how do I run this? Here we go. All right, well, thank you for hosting us tonight. I'm going to present just an overview of the master plan. You should have copies of the full plan that we put together. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of what our intent is for development of the park, and talk about how we plan to achieve that in the future. So that's it. So we'll give you the overview. I'll answer any outstanding questions that you have. And then I'm going to seek your approval of the plan, right? So the plan is not comprehensive. It doesn't have all the details of developing out over the next 3 to 5 years, but it does outline what our intentions are for it. And I think continuing to work with Mike and the Parks crew on some of the more detailed elements of the plan is the approach that we seek to take on in the future. So what we want to do with the park is, if any of you have been out there, you'll notice that there are trails everywhere. It's a spider web of trails that people have been building over decades. Some of them are much better than others. What we want to do is we want to create a much better riding experience for people out there. And I don't know if any of you have been out there during the COVID issue, you'll notice that the parks have been under great stress and a lot of use. So the parking lots are full on the weekends. We've had hikers, we've had people biking out there that have never been there before. A lot of them are getting lost and confused by the web of trails. So what we want to do is we want to create a high quality riding experience for both experienced and novice riders out there. What we'll find though is there's a variety of trails out there. Some of them are pretty difficult, and we want to keep some of the novice riders off of those trails because it can be dangerous, right? So that's one of our other goals. The trails really need to be done in a cost-effective manner. We're going to fund all of that ourselves. We're not asking the city to fund any of it. So we don't like building trails. We like riding trails. So we want to make sure that the trails that we do build are sustainable, and they're built to be very durable and last for a long time. We want to increase the level of signage out there so that we create loop trails and people don't get lost and they know which trail they're on and know which riding level they're at. Some of those trails were built without understanding the environmental impact of trail building. If you build a trail on a steep downhill, it's going to erode. So we have techniques for building trails that are sustainable and they keep from eroding. We also believe that bringing a lot of riders into this area can have a positive impact on the local economy. So we would like to also advertise for local businesses that help support the trail system within the park. So those are the goals. So if you see, as you see on the left, that is a map of the current trail system out there. As you can see, it's just a mess. It's a spider web of trails that are leading in every direction. We hear a lot of feedback from new riders that they get lost and they don't know where they are, or they're on the same trail 4 or 5 times and they just keep coming back to the same spot. So what we'd like to do is we would like to take those existing trails in phase 1 of this plan and create 3 loops throughout the park. And those loops are going to be based on the riding levels of the individuals. So there's going to be a novice loop. The green loop that we highlight on the right slide will be for novice riders. Doesn't have a lot of elevation gain. It's hard to do out there, but and take out some of the rocks and roots on the trails, and so we can use it for new riders, some of the high school riders that are new to the sport. We can allow them to ride out there. Plus, it brings them back to their point of origin, and they don't get lost. And then an intermediate trail, and then a more advanced trail. So we would create a kiosk that would describe what the trails are, the color of the trails, so that a novice would be able to follow the green loop and be safe throughout the loop. We envision this as a 3-phase approach to it. We want to build confidence in our potential sponsors that we can do what we're planning. So phase 1 is utilizing existing trails, connecting them, showing creating the 3 loops that I showed earlier, adding some signage. We have some arrows that we're going to use to indicate the location of the loops and directions. Phase 2, then we're going to bring in professionals to help build and enhance the trails, the existing trail systems. So they would be building some berms and some more advanced features on the trails. And then phase 3 is to add additional infrastructure. That's where the cost comes in. That involves paving the parking lot, potentially adding some bathrooms, and then just making it the parking situation a little bit better out there. So phase 1, again, is a pretty simple thing, using existing trails, connecting them. You can see in the picture here, over the last couple months, we built a 140-foot boardwalk that we self-funded on the east side of the park because it was underwater. The hikers and bikers were going through the mud. We heard a lot of comments from the hikers that they appreciated not going ankle deep in the mud. So we self-funded that and built that ourselves. We want to continue we've had a great partnership with the city, with Craig, and now with Mike, working with them on building trails at the park and being able to, kind of do what we want. We want to continue that, obviously. Like I said, we don't have all the details in the plan, but I think, working with the park staff will allow us to, get approval for those more detailed plans. We plan on self-funding. We've been raising money. We had a mountain bike race here this winter that the parks department or the park staff helped with, and it was very successful. So we raised money for that. We do a lot of the trail building with volunteers, and you can see we can get a lot of people together to do some work. We'd also like to explore at some point the viability of trail passes, pay for use, as like the dog parks are doing. We figure if people are using the trails, they probably should pay to help maintain them and keep them in good shape. That's all I had for the presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. One of the other things, before I get into that, one of the other things that I wanted to make sure that we did, that I highlighted, was that we understand that the park is multi-use. The Ice Age Trail runs through it. We're going to try and maintain segregation between hikers and bikers, because anytime you cross paths, there's potential for accidents. So we'd like to maintain the integrity of the Ice Age Trail, and put in bike paths around that, so that we don't have mixed use issues. Any questions? Yes.
First of all, looks like a really win-win for the city. I like it. That's our new deal. Self-funding will help you out whatever way you can. But it looks like you got a great organization started already, which is wonderful. Mike Yentz, maintenance-wise, what would that entail for your group of guys?
Right now, the current trail system that's out there, or the spider web as Craig called it, and I would agree with that, it is a spider web. We do little to no maintenance on those trails. Like Craig had mentioned, the boardwalk they just constructed, they did that all themselves, self-funded. They got some donations for it. We're going to provide some gravel for them on either end, because that's easy, that's quick. If we can support them like that, that's great. So ultimately, for the trail system itself, we don't plan on doing any high level of maintenance out there. The parking lot's gravel right now. We grade it once or twice a year. We plow it in the wintertime. We pick garbage, things like that. We do very little on that property as far as maintenance or improvements. All the trails and everything that are out there has been done by volunteers already.
Great.
It's a great plan.
Thank you.
Yep, really is.
Yeah, and I mean, as many people, as new faces we saw out there during this COVID situation, I think it's going to get a lot more use in the future. And that's great. I mean, it's great people getting out there and enjoying the city parks.
If you go to any store right now or go downtown and look at the bikes flying off the shelf.
Yep.
Right? No, it's outstanding. It really is.
Yeah.
For people to get outside, I mean, it's a great project,
Great.
so.
Good.
So the three-phase isn't necessarily 3 years?
No, it's in the so the idea is we're gonna build momentum, right? So phase one is we can do stuff ourselves, right? It's not going to cost a lot of money. We've got the volunteers; they can put all that stuff together. Phase two, we're going to start to solicit sponsors through either through the community or West Bend Mutual has been always a big advocate for outdoor activities. But we're going to show that we've made progress in phase one. So we connected these trails, we added signage, we did it relatively inexpensively, and so that's the intent. This phased approach is to start to build some momentum, show that we can execute on the plans that we're putting in place, and it's probably a 5-year plan. The parking lot's going to be probably the most expensive portion of it. At some point. I don't know what the bathroom. It would be great to have bathrooms out there, but that's expensive again, and maybe not attainable. But that's why I say that the level of detail in the later phases is greatly reduced because we don't really know what's going to happen. I mean, the plan is to show our intent. We want to continue to improve the park, and we don't exactly know how that's always going to happen, but that's what we'd like to do.
So in the paper on Tuesday, I read the article. It said that the commission plans on hosting several fundraisers. They obviously meant the committee, right?
Probably, yeah.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, we had a couple of events. We raised $1,000, and that was enough to. We had somebody pay for half of the boardwalk because they ride out there all the time and they appreciate it, and they threw in $700 to finish the boardwalk. So
I saw in the packet that you're talking about user fees, but it would be like a voluntary thing.
Yeah, it would be voluntary.
Personally, I'm not in favor of
Yeah.
user fees.
No, it would be a voluntary thing. It'd be through peer pressure.
It would be
Sounds
like
great.
somewhat similar to what we're doing at the dog park right now, where is it mandatory? No, but it's definitely strongly appreciated. And then, same thing, we'd set up an account, so those funds go directly back to the bike course or bike, route and all that stuff, so.
And it would obviously be for bikers, not a hiker. Right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Although I suppose if a hiker wanted to donate, they could too.
Absolutely. Yeah, and the trails, we intend that the trails, we'd like to keep the hikers and the bikers segregated, but there are sections that are wide enough and open enough that it can accommodate, both hikers and bikers.
And that's big because, like you said, it is multi-use, so we want
Right.
to keep it open for hikers as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. As long as the dogs stay on leash, that's
Next month.
right.
I gotta agree, it's a great plan you got there, I like how you're doing it in phases, and it's all realistic, you're not going overboard, and
Right.
great job for you guys and all your crew that's been working on it.
Thanks, Al.
Really good to see.
Great.
Any other questions?
I just also, Craig, if you don't mind going back to your one slide with the existing trails and then the new trails. So on the left, for the commissioners on the left, the drawing or the map on the left is what we currently have. And it's obviously, Craig nailed it when he said spider web. Drawing on the right is what it's going to look like. I gotta hop up here without a microphone, but I gotta kind of just explain. This is the Ice Age trail running through the middle of it. So the new trail will actually have less biking on the Ice Age trail, which is what we want. And the
Right.
Ice Age trail wants that, these folks want that. So we don't have that conflict of someone walking a dog on a leash, off a leash,
Yeah.
and bikers and things like that. So we actually have a meeting coming up here now in a couple of weeks with the Ice Age Trail Alliance and things like that. So everyone that uses the facility, their voice is going to be heard, their priorities are going to be heard, we can get things done the right way.
And frankly, the Ice Age Trail is not great to bike on.
Right.
It's rocky and
Yep. So
Any other questions?
Is there just you're gonna fill in the gopher holes, is there some kind of plan to, the gopher's gonna dig holes again, aren't they?
That's a great segue for Mike. Yeah, well, I mean, there's certainly some maintenance that's going to be required on the trails. If you do, generally, if you do the trails in a sustainable way, the gophers stay off the trails.
No gophers allowed sign up.
Make sure they're close to the ground, okay? So what kind of motion are we looking for tonight? Just
To
for
accept
them?
the plan that they proposed.
Right?
Yep,
That's
and then from there on out, we would work with them.
Right, as it goes on.
And it
as
goes
they-
on, if there's anything major, we would bring it back to commission, but, like the boardwalk and things, the work they've already done, they contact me, we talk about it, we discuss it, et cetera, we get the work done, so. We don't wanna overburden commission with every month we're gonna do a new trail and things like that, where if you accept the master plan tonight, these folks have a green light to, take off, keep running with it, and really start some serious development and planning out there.
A motion to approve the Glacier Blue Hills Master Development Plan.
We got a motion, you have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
You guys are doing a great job. Keep it up. Next on the agenda tonight, we have Eagle Scout project, Glacier Blue Hills Bike Track, Mike Spangenberg.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for meeting me here tonight to listen to my Eagle Scout project proposal. So what I plan to do is work in close contact with Craig and work with my Eagle Scout project into their development of the city park here. So if you look at, I believe all of you guys have a copy of my presentation. If you guys want to look at the third page where I have listed out maps, as you can see on the presentation that Craig has up here, if you look to the right side on the blue, the little blue segment right here where the mouse is, that's where I plan on having my trail being built there. So what I plan on doing is there's a currently existing mountain bike trail that you see there, and I plan on widening it as well as regrading the area for planning for drainage to make the trail sustainable. So if you look on the second page, you can see a picture of the trail. So it's fairly narrow and frequently overgrown, so I plan on widening that up as well as trimming back some of the vegetation on there. And on the top, you can see that there's the features that I plan on building as rollers and berms, which are a safe way for riders of all skill levels, whether novice or advanced, a safe way for them to expand their skills as well as have fun in a safe environment. So steps for this project, I plan on doing it in late July and into August. I have calendars with the weekends of dates that I plan on having that on there. So the materials that I'm going to need is roughly about 30 yards of dirt, and then the tools that I'm having, we have a motorized plate compactor, I have that at home, and then I need some water for the compaction process as well. So for that, in order to build the proper sustainable trails that aren't going to erode and get diminished over use, I will be proper compaction as well as working with Craig to make sure that the trails will be built sustainable and last a long time. So for preparation for the project, like I was saying, the grading and widening, I was planning on taking a skid loader out there. There, as you mentioned before, there is quite a few gopher holes out there, and this section that I have is open field, and there is quite a few gopher holes. So as part of widening and expanding that, as well as grading it out, will help to make a safer riding environment for all of the trail users out there. So, any questions?
Skid loader cost, I take it, do you own one or somebody you know owns one?
Yeah, my dad actually has one, so there would be no cost for that, so that helps. Obviously, that would be an expensive part of the project. As terms of expenses, this would all be fundraised through me. I have methods of fundraising through the troop, as well as other ways that I can. I was planning on maybe having a brat for raising money to get dirt in there. I have checked out. You guys have been dumping dirt out there. Some of that isn't really usable. It's a mix of like wood chips and stuff, so that wouldn't be the most ideal material for the project, but there is some that might be usable out there. I'm not sure if you guys have a plan for what's going on out there with that, or if I would be able to use some of the dirt that is out there.
And I guess, again, back to Mike here, they're not just gonna let you take a skid loader back there and do what you want, right? Are you gonna have to mark something out with?
At some point in time, I'll meet Mikey out there on site. We can discuss it, things like
Okay.
that. The trail they're working on, I know exactly where they're at. I'm not worried about impacts, negative impacts on hikers, walkers at Ice Age Trail or anything like that. We shouldn't have any issues with the erosion control. If there's any usable materials out there, it's all yours to use.
Okay.
If you need more in there, things like that, obviously, we have some time
Okay.
between now and then to talk, you know. If you don't get your funding levels met and we need to transport some material for you, something like that, we can certainly coordinate that.
Okay.
But we normally leave it up to the potential Eagle Scout to do the hard work of fundraising and
Yeah.
coordinating. We don't want to make it too easy.
Yeah, and then in terms of like taking care of the vegetation that might be disturbed out there, as you're taking a skid loader out there, you're going to tear some stuff up. So as once the building phase of the project is complete, I would be planning on replanting some like grass and flowers out there to clean up the aesthetics of the park and make it look a little bit more natural.
Outstanding. Any more questions for Mike?
Sounds good.
No, sounds great. So, looks like you got a nice project going here, so. We need a motion to accept.
So moved.
Second.
So we had a motion, a second. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate all your help, okay? We love when the Boy Scouts come. Okay, next is donations. I don't know, Mike, since your crew isn't here, who's donations tonight?
Our department accountant,
I figured that, so.
It's all about the money, yeah, right? No, we appreciate these donations. The first is from First Bank Financial Center. They gave us an additional $1,200 for the movie night in the park. And as you know, this year they're going to do a drive-in movie format. To make it, continue to keep it free for the public, First Bank gave us an additional $1,200 over and above what they gave previously for that event. So we thank them. The next donation is from Fleet Farm. Fleet Farm donated $2,500 for the Dirty Ninja Mud Run for Kids. This is sponsorship they decided to give us, even though they knew that the mud run was going to be canceled for this year. This donation and others we are carrying forward into 2021 budget year as sponsorships for the 2021 event, which we hope we can have. So thank you to Fleet Farm for that. Regal Wear also gave us a donation of $1,250 for the Dirty Ninja Mud Run for Kids. So we have a total of $14,000 that we are carrying forward of all these sponsorships we've accepted over the last few months into 2021.
And looks like everybody that donated, right, said take it through for next year.
Yes, those that we have
an account, right,
received.
Someplace, correct? So
Yep.
we're maybe getting 1.1% interest.
Those that wait, yeah, that $14,000 that we have received for these will go into a deferred revenue account, and then they will go into 2021. That's it.
Any more questions for Carolyn? Need a motion to approve the donations?
Motion to approve.
Second? Second. We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Carolyn. All right, I guess Mike's gonna do our COVID-19 plan report.
Yes, sir.
You're not gonna do all 48 pages, are you?
I am not going to go over all 48 pages. I've read all 48 pages many, many times, and then every new version that comes out, I read all 49 pages or whatever it is. So, no, I just wanted to pass along some highlights, kind of where we're at, where we're going, some potential changes, things like that. With the state of Wisconsin Supreme Court basically voting and saying the governor's plan is no longer valid, the governor called it the Wild West and chaos and everything else, whatever. We are very fortunate in Washington and Ozaukee County. We have a health department that has been working on a plan since it started. There are some counties throughout the state and other communities that they're really struggling to find professional assistance in something like this. I'm certainly not a health officer, health professional, or anything else like that. So our health department has come up with a blueprint to reopen Washington County. We, the city, have been reviewing that obviously even before the Supreme Court's vote to terminate the governor's plan, et cetera. With that being said, for several days there, we had no official response plan then relating to COVID for the city of West Bend. And when I refer to the city of West Bend, I look at around this room to Park Rec Forestry, to police department, to restaurants, to businesses, everything else. So this plan touches on anything and everything in the county, from private businesses to municipal operations. Fireworks are mentioned in here, weddings, high school graduations, etc. So last Monday, we, the city, took it before the Common Council, and they did adopt this plan. So as this plan does evolve, our response will also change. So if COVID numbers go up, the plan's going to get more restrictive. COVID numbers go down, the plan gets a little more relaxed, things like that. So for us, for our department, it's very important that we do have a plan like this. So now we have something to relate to. Why are we allowing this and not this? Why are we doing this and not this? This plan lays that out for us. Not specifically, hey, close the Regner swim pond, but if you want to open, these are your parameters. And then we make the decision from there. So with that being said, looking at this plan, again, as it was mentioned last week, I'm sure some of you have seen it in the paper, Facebook, etc. We will not have any community events in June and July, most likely August. There's no deadline. We don't know, because we don't know how this is going to proceed. So the health department obviously does not want mass gatherings. Music on Main, no. Dirty Ninja Mud Run, no. German Night, Regner Fest, all those events, those mass or large gathering events will not occur this summer. The farmers market will. That's very specific in this plan. There's probably 4 pages, very detailed, very specific about how farmers market should operate in Washington and Ozaukee County. That's farmers market's a little different than a music festival in Regner Park. And again, this is the health department, their guidelines, CDC, things like that. That's all in here. So for us, the big ones are no community events. No tournaments, no athletic tournaments. So we normally have 3 softball tournaments, and we support the Little League with their Father's Day tournament. We would not have those tournaments either. The Little League tournament is very successful. Those folks do a great job every year. But with that tournament, they're bringing people in from out of state, all over the state of Wisconsin, and the health department does not want out-of-staters basically coming into Washington County. Part of that is, obviously, we don't know where they're coming from. We don't want people coming from the Chicago area, and some of these other hot spots. Also, the health department can't track cases then. So if there's positive cases, they want to have the ability to go back to the person and say, where were you? Who did you come in contact with? So if I'm at a backyard barbecue with some family members, I'm positive, we can track that. I go to the West Bend Little League tournament, and there's 2,000 people there. It's impossible to track. July 4th fireworks are traditional fireworks in Riverside Park. We put 5, 7, 10,000 people there. We can't track, the health department cannot track that. So our large events, we will not have those this summer. Fireworks at this point in time, there's still a question mark behind that. Our department, PD, fire, admin, we're trying to figure out how we can do this safely. It will not be a traditional firework display at all. And it's going to be probably like a drive-in movie theater type a scenario. Come on in, hang out with your family, watch it from your vehicle. When it's done, go home. They don't want the mass gatherings. In Regner Park, we will not open the swim pond this summer. Little history, a little background on that. Last year was an average year. June last year, excuse me, June last year was a little cooler temperature-wise, but still just kind of an average summer. Our swim pond, we lost last year $5,600. Normally it's about zero. Some years we make a couple of $1,000. Some years we $5,600 loss. We don't worry about that because on the average year we don't worry about that because that's all part of our recreational enterprise account. So the swim pond, instructional baseball, all of our recreation programs, that's all part of our revenue accounts, or our enterprise account. And the big one is the Dirty Ninja Mud Run that helps offset our recreational programming. That's why we do the Ninja Mud Run, because it's awesome. But we do it, again, for the revenue to help support our rec division. Again, just like the dog park, just like the bike plan, we need to, find sustainability in, some of our programming. Well, if we can't have a Dirty Ninja Mud Run, we can't offset any of the costs for the swim pond. Also, with the county's blueprint plan, we can only operate the swim pond at 25% capacity. Okay, so I can tell you right now, off the top of my head, in Washington, Ozaukee, Waukesha County, and Milwaukee County, the only pool I know that's going to be open this summer right now is Hartford. Because at 25% capacity, we still have to get all of our lifeguards. We have to train all of our lifeguards. We have to go through all the regular maintenance. We have to do all of that at a capacity of 25% less. Also with our pond, how would we keep those numbers at 25%? We would literally have to put snow fence around the entire thing and have people at the gates and doing tallies, people coming, people going, number of swimmers, all that stuff. And we financially cannot support that. As it sits already this year, I would have to assume our recreational enterprise account, our rec division budget, operating budget, we will be negative $25,000 as it sits. Without a pond. We run the pond, that number is going to be a lot larger. At the end of last year, our rec enterprise account was at $251,000 because we have awesome sponsors. Carolyn just mentioned a bunch. The Friends of Parks, the support, financial support, the events you folks run to help support all of that activity. $250,000, great. We just transferred $150,000 out of that account to help the library project. So our $250,000 account is already down $150,000. We're already going to take a hit this year financially. And don't Dirty Ninja Mud Run. It's basically a business. I see a couple of businessmen sitting in a room. I think the math is pretty black and white on something like that. And even outside of the financial impact, we do worry about staff and their safety, the lifeguards, COVID-19, their exposures. We have to, their safety, the safety of our customers. So at this point in time, we do not plan on operating the bathhouse. The splash pad we are targeting, June 12th, we will open it and have it operational. We will not have an attendant there. Which we've done in the past already at the splash pad. Normally at the end of our regular swim season, we leave the splash pad on just for general use. It's a water playground, go use it. Would we consider closing it at any point in time this summer? If we have 200 kids around the splash pad, we will close it. We would, if those numbers are up, we would have to close it just for COVID safety reasons. So those are all the negative things. No events, no Dirty Ninja Mud Run, maybe some fireworks, no swim pond. World's coming to an end. It is not. Tomorrow is a big day. May 29th is a big day. We are fully open for business tomorrow. All of our restrooms are open. All of our rental facilities. Carolyn and Karen have been working diligently, to say the least, to work with our customers, rescheduling family reunions, weddings, high school graduations, you name it. They've been, it's really been a personal exchange between our staff and our customers. It's been, these ladies are just awesome professionals. So we are open tomorrow. All of our rental facilities, restrooms, all of our athletic surfaces will also be open for general use, practices, games, and leagues. We will be able to run leagues this summer. No tournaments, but leagues. The health department asked that we keep our leagues to local teams. What are local teams? They don't have a specific drawing with a circle around it what local is. Fond du Lac County, Washington County, some closer Sheboygan communities, things like that. Try and keep the teams as local as we can. I'm not going to be standing out in the parking lot doing inventory on license plates at Quas Creek to find out where someone's traveling from. But our leagues and our players and our coaches understand where we're coming from. So Is summer over? No, it's not. Is it going to be the same as what we've had the last couple of years? No. Buy a bike, buy a kayak, go and enjoy some of these. We have an awesome park system in West Bend. It's been busy. It's been crazy busy the last couple of months. People have been quarantined, but our parks are open and they're using them. The trails are busy, and that's great. You know, we're really happy to see that. Also, in June, we will be starting our some rec programs, in-person, face-to-face recreation programs, tennis, baseball. We got some basketball things going on, all that stuff. We're going to use smaller classes. We're not going to go to full classes. Nick and Jackie, Nick's really done just an outstanding job. We would come up with a plan. The state would change their mind. We'd throw that plan out. We come up with another plan. That's how it's been, and it's still changing. Last week, Thursday, the health department's blueprint changed it again. My hair was brown at the beginning of the day on Thursday, end of the day it was gray kind of deal. So that's how it's going to be, you know. So rec programs will be starting in June. They will expand in July. We're going to go through August. Our tennis is full. It's everything we're putting out there is full. I mean, which is awesome. Courtney's event programs, our adventure camp out at Lac Loran, full. She's all set. I spent some time with her yesterday because it's like, okay, we're going to do this, you know. So it's kind of cool. We're getting kind of excited that we can actually go do our jobs again instead of cancel and reschedule and things like that. So the Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA, they're looking at using our park facilities also to help facilitate some of their day camps. Again, Boys and Girls Club is only so big, they need to physically distance, so they're going to be using Regner Park. Good, use it, you know. Let's work with these other groups and all that. So the Warriors group over at Riverside for baseball, they're all excited they get to play baseball this summer. So is summer over? No, it's going to be a little different. I'd suggest buying a fishing pole and doing that once instead of, if you can't play as much baseball, maybe do that. If you're not traveling every weekend to go play softball, go buy a kayak and go enjoy the Milwaukee River. It's kind of an awesome river. So that's where we are at tonight. Carolyn, am I missing anything as far as, it's been a little crazy. Carolyn's a superstar. Karen's great. I mean, our whole staff has really done a great job. Very proud of each and every one of them. So summer's not over. It's going to be a little different. Hopefully our COVID numbers don't go up. They level off or go down. So we can continue with this and maybe even later in the summer offer some more things. So that's what I have at this time.
Do we have an idea, a splash pad, what the capacity is? Is it like 20?
No.
As I say, 25% of that, it's going to be 5 kids?
I'm going to refer to the splash pad as a water playground. I have no idea what the capacity is of Regner Park playgrounds. I'm not even going to try and estimate. And if I were to look in this blueprint again and look at playgrounds and splash pads and things like that, there probably wouldn't be an answer there for us, Mike. We're going to open it up. We're going to provide the city with that amenity unless it becomes too busy. So.
Who would make the call? Police department, fire department, you?
Us and PD.
Okay.
Yeah.
The movie night was 200 cars you were going to allow in? Is there a plan for that?
Yep, it's on my list, and thanks for reminding me. June 24th, we are looking at having a drive-in movie in Regner Park. June 24th was originally our movie in the park night anyways. We have sponsors for it. Nick went out and found an additional sponsor for the drive-in movie. They think it's pretty cool. Marcus Theater, let me back up. Some movie theater chains and some other large movie companies in the United States and world, some of them like Mice and whatever, they have, we are restricted to how many people we can have at our movies because a lot of movie theaters have been closed because of COVID. They haven't been making any money. We start doing movie in the park, they're going to make maybe less money because people are going to come to Regner Park for free and they're not going to go to their movie theater. I get it. I'm not here to challenge private business or anything else like that. So we are planning on running the movie Frozen. We've already purchased the rights, but we can only go to 200 people. We're going to open up the gate. When the parking lot fills, we will close the gate and that'll be it. Will we have more than 200 people show up? Absolutely. Are we going to turn a lot of people away? Probably. We do that or we do nothing. Last time I checked, we don't get paid to sit on our hands. And even in a situation like this, we should try and do something. And I think if we can pull this moving the park off, and I think we can, we're looking at next week, setting up the screen, see how things work, running some chalk lines in the parking lot so we're not bumper to bumper, so we can see what we're doing. Someone shows up with a pickup truck, we'll probably put you in the back, or a larger SUV or something like that, but I think it'd be kind of cool. And their sponsors are really excited about it. And if this one works, will we do more? Yeah, let's hope so. Can we do more maybe in a different property or something like that? Yep, we got some ideas for that too. So it's just we need to find something where it's dark, we don't ambient light, street lights, parking lot lights, and all that stuff. So that's why the Regner, we're going to look at the Park Avenue parking lot and put everyone in there. Someone parks on the road and they want to watch their family in and sit in a soccer field, great. Again, the COVID police aren't going to show up and tell you to get out.
It's 200 people, not 200 cars.
200
correct?
I
people.
wondered how 200 cars would fit in.
So-
We're gonna sneak, high school, you
Again-
sneak them in the trunk, kids, so we'll.
So Mike, we might have you at the gate with a counter and then just
I
like.
might miss a couple.
You mentioned. Yeah. So, but no, Mike, thanks a lot for bringing that up because I wanted to mention that, the moving apart.
I have one more question about the 5K, 10K run. We've been getting registrations for that?
Carolyn, do you have any numbers on that? I don't off the top of my head.
Yes, we have close to 20 for the 5K and about 12 for the 10K. Actually, maybe closer, yeah, I think last time I looked at it was probably 30 for both, so.
Okay, so they're coming in slowly.
That's about right.
So, and as a reminder, yep, I was going to mention it in my report tonight, but if you do sign up, you do get a cool T-shirt with the old retro logo, the old school Park and Rec logo, and then Ron Krepke let me borrow his medal. You also get a medal and a T-shirt. So this is Ron's. He let me borrow it. I'm going to give it back to him on his birthday. So,
Hope he's watching TV tonight.
well, it'll be taped, so maybe you can let him know it's going to air.
Carolyn, I got a quick question for you, Lac Lorraine. So I've had 3 weddings this summer already canceled, and it's past September. How does that look with cancellations? Do you have some now back in the book? Are you?
Yeah. We only had 10 wedding weekend packages for 2020 to start with.
Okay.
I'm kind of glad about that because it's been a lot of jostling around. One of the earlier summer weddings moved theirs to July and has now canceled. 2 others have transferred their dates to 2021, which leaves us with 7.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a nice moneymaker for the city, our friends at West Bend Park, so we do need that. So,
Right. The open weekends have filled with graduation parties, some family reunions, that sort of thing. But those now also are starting to call and wondering, if they should hold theirs. The capacity is an issue. People traveling from out of town is an issue. We're not done with the cancellations yet. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions for Mike?
Mike, you had mentioned that the recreation fund had 250 in it. How long did it take to build it up to that?
Since it started.
Yeah, I'm going to go, Alan, about 7 or 8 years. 7 years.
The first year was 2014.
Yeah.
So
Because I was going a number of mud runs. Yep. So
that was the first year.
it's a little bit every year. We just keep building, and we've been very sustainable with our operations, and the mud run's really been supporting that. So it's not like, hey, we did that in 2 years. It's taken a while to get to that point.
So you have roughly 100 reserve right now. Are you comfortable with that for this year? Or?
We are. Nick is very frugal, which is good. I mean, he's, I don't want to call him cheap. If he were here, I would, but maybe I just did. I say that jokingly. Nick does an excellent job watching the finances. He really does. If they don't need 6 lifeguards up in Regner, he'll have 4 lifeguards up. If they don't need this for a program, he's going to cancel it. He's going to move people around. He's going to do whatever he can. So again, between Nick's work, all of our sponsors, all these sponsors we get for all these different events, moving in the park, I think we have 3 sponsors for that. That's huge, just to cover our operational costs. The Friends of Parks, the donations they do for softball, for T-shirts, the swim pond operations. If the Friends of Parks donates $5,000 for beach operations, that's huge. that's, I mean, it's just astronomical, the positive impact it has to build that $251,000 account. You know, so will we survive this year? Oh, absolutely. Would we survive another year of COVID or something like that? I wouldn't even want to think about it. So we would definitely have to make some serious changes.
Right.
Yeah. We'd have 3 mud runs next year or something. I don't know. So,
Great idea.
so.
Is there any other questions for Mike? Thanks a lot, Mike, really appreciate it.
Yep, you
Thanks
bet.
for all the work again, too, you guys all do. Okay, now we go to reports. Chairman, all I can say is I hope there's a lot of people watching tonight. Please go out and use the parks. They're open for business. I'd like to see Lackland filled up, and I know every week there's going to be people calling, canceling, but people use it, even if it's at 20, a group of 25 to have a party there. Like I said, it's there. It's a wonderful, wonderful option for some parties. So, and like I said, all I gotta say is, hopefully, like you said, by the end of the summer we get through some of this, and we'll be rolling forward full speed ahead again. Secretary Mike Westend.
I stopped down there the other day at the Labyrinth Garden. Girls were working real hard getting that beautified. That hedge keeps the geese out, but the deer jumped over and ate a bunch of the lilies, so I think they're going to be planting a lot of annuals. It's unfortunate. But thank God for volunteers, it's like the Boy Scouts and everything. And then I mentioned to Mike the fishing pond, there was some debris floating in there and some volunteers cleaned that up. And so
We have no idea who did it. Here's a big pile of,
we were going to plan on doing a little cleanup day, and it was all done.
so.
Great. Anything else, Mike?
No, that's about it.
Just before I forget, because I know I'll forget before, are you going to mention about the Discover?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, just want to make sure, because I would forget that. Okay. So I think, Mike, are you handling all the rest of them? A couple little.
I emailed out everyone, all staff reports today, and I'm
So
not
we
gonna
saw
go over
all
them.
the Staff reports, right? We should be covered there.
Yeah, Mike Chevalier said he'd rather just read them instead of listening to me, so.
Okay, that's fine.
I have a question on one of them.
Yep.
Just Andy Farrell, the park, he's going to oversee the construction oversight. Has he done work for us before? I don't know who that is.
He has not. Mr. Chevalier actually put us in contact with him. With the library project, I'll say. Long story short, the city hired Zimmerman Design to provide us with a design, get us close to construction specifications, etc. Cindy Lines does a great job. She's finishing up a lot of that stuff herself. But the problem is with Cindy's workload right now, the shelter's coming in Regner soon. We got the Riverwalk project going on. She's doing a lot of the specs for the Riverwalk to save money also on that. We just finished our tree planting project. We got tennis and basketball courts in Riverside to redo yet this year. The Eisenbahn Trail, we're looking at crack sealing all that. So Cindy's crammed with projects. Throwing COVID on my schedule. We might, in the next month or so, might have an update for Carl Kuss, so all my extra time will be going towards that. So with the library project, I don't build things like that every day. Cindy doesn't. So Andy Farrell and his company, we are looking at hiring them to do our construction admin for us. They can work with the plumbers and the electricians and things like that, get things coordinated, keep things moving. Again, could I do it? I guess I could. Most of them probably laugh at me, maybe take advantage of me, I guess, whatever. I don't do it every day.
So they'd be like the general
Yeah,
contractor?
basically, yeah.
Okay, great.
So,
And Mike knows him, worked with him already, so.
For many years.
Right, he came highly recommended when we met, so.
yeah.
I
So,
do remember they talked about it.
so for that dollar amount, I think it's a step it's a good investment.
Yes.
So, and financially, we're, with that project, we are going out for bid. I don't remember the specific dates. Very soon, we have permission to bid already. We're gonna have everything back in by July 2nd. As we go out for bid, we gotta do 2 notices. We gotta do the mandatory pre-bid meeting. And then they still have another week or so to get so it takes a while to get through all those steps because it's public bidding and all that. By July 2nd, we should have the numbers back. So financially, with Andy's even financial commitment towards Andy, that's a good investment, and we should be, according to our estimates, be just fine with the library fund, the rec fund, and the outstanding donations that we have received. So,
Okay, Director Mike, you can keep going.
Okay, sounds good. As Mike mentioned, I hope everyone's going to be around Saturday or Sunday, and if you're not, you can Google it. Discover Wisconsin did a piece on West Bend. We did the, I'll say, unveiling last evening. We had a small group down at the Bend, the old West Bend Theater downtown. A couple of us were invited to that again. They didn't invite the whole world because of social distancing and all that. It's about a 19.5-minute video on showcasing West Bend. So if you get a chance, it's this Saturday and Sunday morning. Fox.
10 o'clock both days, I believe.
Yep.
Sundays on Fox 6.
Yep, Sunday's Fox 6. Saturday's Fox Sports or something like that.
FSN maybe,
Yeah, it might be.
Saturday, but 10 o'clock. You'll be very proud of your city when you see this. It's really impressive. The drones they had going over the Riverwalk and MOA and Regner Park, and very, very impressive.
No, it's pretty cool. They did showcase a lot of the downtown business district. They did financially support this. Also, the bid board did. So obviously, they would, definitely be included. But it was kind of great, kind of awesome to see. The end of the video was the Dirty Ninja Mud Run, Regner Park, the Labyrinth Garden, and it finished. And Nick Lemke's like, "I'm kind of sad." He goes, "I'm going to miss summer," because that's what we do between mud runs and everything else. So. So no, if you get a chance, watch it Sunday. Otherwise, go to Discover Wisconsin's website and you can check it out there. Next item. We've had a ghost volunteer in Regner Park. Mr. Bruce Wilk has been cleaning the Regner Memorial on his own. Bruce is one of those hard chargers that has been going around to some of the cemeteries, cleaning out Civil War headstones and things like that. Bruce walks through Regner Park, I think, every day or like 10 times a day. They live near it, just north of the park, and he thought, well, what am I doing? I need to clean this. So Bruce has been working on the Regner Memorial on and off for the last couple of weeks, and I met him down there yesterday. It's pretty cool. Bruce is, I think you all know him. He's a pretty cool guy. He's part of the Kiwanis and things like that. He's definitely a friend of the park system and definitely a leader in West Bend. He's kind of outstanding energy. It's kind of fun to watch.
He cleaned the fishing pond out.
Maybe he did.
This morning, he didn't say anything.
Last item, our deer program this winter. You may have seen it in the paper. We donated approximately 1,200 pounds of venison to the food pantry. They were very excited about that with the COVID situation going on. That was very beneficial to them and their customers. So 58 deer were removed this winter from Ridge Run, Lac Loran, and the county property along Schmidt Road. I don't remember the specific numbers as I stand here. Ridge Run was lots of deer. They could have taken more if they needed to or had more permits, but the last 2 years we set the permit level at 60. It's a good number financially to get things done, get all the deer tested for CWD and get everything processed and all that. So last year was 56 deer, this year is 58. Again, I don't know when we're gonna have the next deer committee meeting. I'm assuming they're gonna wanna continue with the program because if you stop now, the first 2 years would probably just be a waste of money and waste of time. So I know in some of the last meetings they had discussed possibly bow hunting to also help sustain the deer herd, things like that. Are we going to expand it into other properties like Ridge or Regner? I know Barb and her volunteers at the Labyrinth Garden, they work there every day. I think they'd want just about every deer removed because and I understand their frustrations. They work so hard and they're on their own time and the deer come and do all that damage. But again, we worked at the USDA. Lair's Meats did all the processing, things like that. So, and it all went to the food pantry. So I think win-win on that project. So that's what I have. Unless I have questions.
Any more questions for Mike? Is there anything else for the good of the Park and Rec Commission? Meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody.